They talked about him as a promising kid. In the mid-10s, he was called the strongest wrestler in the world. Now most people consider him a clown. So who is Devon Larratt really? Let's figure it out. And before starting the video, let's check how well you know this athlete. Which of the athletes did Devon lose to in arm fights? Richard Lupkus, Dave Chaffee, Marcio Barbosa, Matt Mascon? Devon was born on April 24, 1975 in Canada, Victoria, British Columbia. Like most legendary wrestlers, Devon's interest in arm wrestling began in his teens. Larratt's first opponent was his grandmother, a farm worker who claimed that she was the best arm wrestler in Alberta, after which Larratt began competing in the oil fields of Western Canada. The first World Cup in a meeting with John Borazenk. Larratt won his first awards in 1999 and in 2000. Then he twice became the bronze medalist of the World Championship on both hands. It is also noteworthy that in 1999, Devon met John Borazenk for the first time and lost to him without much difficulty. Joint Task Force 2 is also a very important part of Devon's life. Larratt joined the Canadian Special Operations Forces Command at the age of 21, where he served for 16 years. Eventually, Devon rose to the rank of senior corporal and was sent to Afghanistan 7 times where he was wounded in battle. Despite all his business trips, Larratt continued to train and actively compete in international competitions during his military service. He also said that the experience gained at various military bases is a significant part of his success. Since 2003, Devon began to actively participate in arm fights where he gradually began to gain popularity. But at the end of 2004, he again stumbled over the same John Borazenk. Devon got his first chance to declare himself as a world-class athlete in 2006. Then he had a duel against the experienced Ron Buff. At that time, Ron was considered third in the ranking of heavyweights in North America, second only to John Borazenk and Travis Budge. Devon Larratt stated that it was his favorite match for a number of reasons, but mainly because of the difficulties and stressful situations in combat, as well as the uncertainty of returning to normal life. It is also noteworthy that then Devon was injured and received shrapnel in his hands while being sent to Afghanistan. Perhaps for this reason he lost his next arm fight against Tara Sivakan, but we'll never know that anymore. The next part of Devon can be considered one of the key ones in his career, because over the next 5 years, he lost not a single match on both his left and right hand, but his main trophy was the same match in 2008. After defeating the arm wrestling legend with a score of 6-0, Larratt became a world-famous arm wrestler and was considered the new right-handed arm wrestler, #1 in the world from 2009 to 2011. Devon won 7 more brilliant victories. Such legends as Travis Budgen, Tim Bresnan, and even such a matter as Richard Lupkus became victims of his hands. Then Devon and he became a recognized arm wrestler all over the world, on both his left and right hands in the same 2011. Devon was able to retain his title of the strongest right-hander against Don Underwood, but gave the title to Travis Budge. Larratt, no limits. That's what they call him all over the world. But do you know why? After an insulting defeat and loss of world champion status on his left hand, Devon did not switch only to his right hand. He decided to do the impossible. Not so many people dominated on both hands for many years. As a rule, most legendary wrestlers were one-armed. There were successful performances on only one hand. So in 2012 and 2013, they became the second key page of the Canadian. Then Devon did what is commonly called impossible. He's faster than Devon, stronger, and besides, he's bigger. These words could be heard in any hall where arm wrestlers lived all over the world. They only argued about how Andre would win his victory, quickly or playfully. You probably don't quite understand what my audience is talking about if you're not an arm wrestler. So I'll explain it to you in a little more detail. American and European arm wrestling are very different in nature. Remember I said that there are different leagues? In America, refereeing has always been controversial, where the judges forgave many fouls, and the fights themselves were more spectacular and protracted. In Europe, on the contrary, the judges expose athletes to the millimeter, monitor all the tricks, and give a foul for the slightest error. Many American athletes find it difficult to fight according to European rules, even if they are identical. European wrestlers, in turn, are just waiting for the command, "Ready? Go ahead." So that's what I'm talking about. Devon Larratt is about to come together against Andrei Pushkar. Enjoy watching. Many people say that his training is ridiculous and ineffective, and Trash Talk made a real clown out of him. We will return to these things a little later, and now let's fast forward to 2013. If you still think that Devon Larratt is the tragedy of our sport, I would say that this is a comedy. The very duel that many are still talking about. A lot of people don't know this fight because this fight shouldn't have happened at all. Oleg agreed right away. Devon, in turn, thought for a long time, but eventually agreed, demanding a tidy sum from the organizers. In the region of $5,000 at that time, Oleg and Andrei were considered one of the strongest on the left hand. But Devon did not agree with this. Then he underwent surgery on both elbows as a result of the injury. Larratt lost his number one in the rating, regardless of weight. After returning, Devon spent a relatively good 4 years, losing out of 16 matches, only 2. 2014, the successful defense of the same hammer for the left hand against Marcio Barbosa, and the insulting loss of the hammer for the right hand to the same Barbosa 2013. Devon Larratt still has the hammer for his left hand, but a real drama played out on his right hand. In the semifinals, the same 50-year-old John Brzenk decided to get even with his old comrade for their duel in 2008 and defeated Devon with elegant technique, as only a professor could do. In 2016, Larratt returned to peak form by successfully defending his left-handed title against Matt Musk and won the right-handed wall title against his arch-rival Marcio Barbosa. In 2017, Devon successfully defended both titles. But as in any person's life, after the white stripe, the black one began. Devon was already at the top of the world arm wrestling, and it was time to fight the champions from other federations. On his right hand, he was confronted by the same good old Michael Todd, who was so eager for revenge for that 2011. On Devon's left hand, a real monster was waiting. His name was Denis Cyplenkov. Despite all his efforts, well-formed form, Devon suffered 2 most insulting defeats, one against the walls of his house, the other against the strongest man regardless of the federation at that time. After these matches, Larratt sent this hammer to Michael Todd, and on the left to Denis Cyplenkov. The following year, Devon held 6 arm fights and won all of them. The king of the table. On May 28, 2021, less than 5 months after recovering from deep vein thrombosis, Devon Larratt agreed to face Michael Todd at the King of the Table tournament for the title of Super Heavyweight Champion of Right Boxing in one of the most publicized matches of all time. Larratt dramatically avenged his defeat in 2018 by defeating Michael. So after the match, Michael Todd stated that the 2021 version of Devon Larratt was the strongest arm wrestler he had ever faced. In the same year, he defeated John Brzenka with a score of 4-0 on the right hand. The legacy of the hammer. The Heritage Hammer, which was presented to Devon Larratt after he defeated Michael Todd at King of Table 1, has since been given to Levin Saganashvili, who defeated him 6-0 at King of Table 4. The hammer, although created by WAL exclusively for its champions, is a symbolic image of the best in the world. The arm wrestler and the owner of the antique hammer must ensure that the hammer belongs to the most worthy person. The current owners of the hammer are Levin Saganashvili on the right hand and Denis Cyplenkov on the left. Also, 2021 was remembered for the whole Devon Larratt versus Hafthor Behrens fight, but the fight was not in Devon's favor. Since it took place according to the rules of boxing, Devon lost that fight, even though some criticized the referee for premature interventions. Devon said that it was probably good that the referee stopped the fight. A random world title. In 2022, Devon Larratt appeared for the first time at the East vs. West tournament, dropping one weight class to face then-champion Evgeny Prudnik. Devon participated in this match because Prudnik's originally scheduled opponent, Michael Todd, was forced to withdraw due to injury. Devon dramatically won the fight, defeating Prudnik with a score 3-0 and won the world's super heavyweight title. The year 2023 is rightfully unique because Devon is once again making history. Despite all his merits and the enormous competition among the new arm wrestling stars, Devon, at the age of 48, decided to show everyone what a man who just wants to fight is capable of. In 9 months, Devon has already held 14 arm fights and not at any amateur tournaments. He defeated Dave Chaffee twice, won the WF champion twice, Georgy Svetkov won, but the most amazing thing was the victory over the generally accepted number 2 for the right hand in the whole world, Hermes Gasparini, who gave Levan Saganashvili a great fight. Many say that Hermes was not in the best shape and did not have time to recover, but many miss the fact that in 2023, this was Hermes' third match for Devon's right hand, the 6th. How does Larratt train? Devon also never hid his workouts and openly showed and talked about his approach, the so-called pulsation method, which is so popular in the States, is Larratt's main weapon. Devon does not have so many basic devices. He used to actively work with dumbbells in his basement, working in partial amplitude, in static. Now, the main arsenal of his exercises that he shows is working with his signature handle on the straps and the usual strap, with which he forced wrestlers from all over the world to try the so-called Larratt breakdown. Devon also pays great attention to his thumb. In more detail, you can study Devon's training process on his channel, link in the description. Personal life. Since 2023, Devon Larratt has been married to Judy Larratt, an actress and former arm wrestler, and together they have 3 children. Larratt currently resides in Canada, in the city of Ottawa, with his family. And that's it for today. You were on the Supinator channel. See you soon.